Buying a family car has become rather difficult recently. It doesn't seem all that long ago that diesel was the fuel of choice for everyone who wanted a big, practical load lugger. But now you need to consider whether your lifestyle better suits an electric vehicle, a hybrid, or something in between, like this new Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid, or PHEV for short. It might seem like the main appeal of a plug-in is that you can drive short distances on electric power alone, but in the UK at least, part of the reason so many people are opting for these kinds of cars is that company car tax rules make them so much more affordable than petrol or diesel versions. So if that's you out there looking for your next company motor, then stick around. But before we go any further, don't forget to subscribe to the Driving Electric YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos go live. If you're looking to run one of these as a company car, the numbers are the most important bit, right? Well, how about a benefit in kind tax rate of just 11% and CO2 emissions of 38 grams per kilometre? Those numbers are pretty competitive, but even if you're not a company car buyer, you'll still be able to enjoy the 35-mile official electric driving range. The Sorento has a 13.8 kilowatt-hour battery along with a 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol engine. We'll talk more about charging and performance later, but let's look at perhaps the most important number of all, the price. The Sorento PHEV costs over £6,500 more than the regular hybrid. Plus, it costs more to tax because its price tag is over £40,000. So it's really pushing into the premium territory. Even on a monthly basis, you're looking at a good chunk more for this plug-in variant. Kia doesn't tend to use the number 1 very often anymore. This 3 model we've got here is the middle of the range, with the entry level 2 below and the 4 above. The trim structure levels are easy enough to remember, but what's wrong with just starting at number 1 at the beginning? But anyway, the price of this model is about a stone's throw away from that of the BMW X3 plug-in, for example. So the Kia has got some upmarket rivals to deal with. The huge grille at the front and the creases on the bonnet certainly look imposing and are typical of the more premium brands. But as a member of the general public, it's up to you to decide whether you think the Kia badge has the right level of kudos just yet. As with any plug-in hybrid, you need to have a very specific usage pattern to get the best out of the Sorento PHEV. You're going to want to plug it in every night and make sure the battery is always full when you leave in the morning. Otherwise, you'll be relying on a rather small 1.6 litre petrol to drag around this not exactly dinky 2-ton SUV. As the battery is fairly small, it only takes 3 hours and 25 minutes to top up if you use a 3 kilowatt wall box, or 5 hours from a normal household plug. The official figures suggest over 170 miles per gallon is possible, but if you can't charge regularly, you can expect to see closer to 35, which is what we averaged when the battery went flat. It depends hugely on how much you use the engine, obviously. If you only drive 20 miles a day and use electric power wherever possible, you could potentially see hundreds of miles to the gallon. But equally, if you never charge it up, it's going to cost a small fortune to run, possibly even more than your old diesel. The Scrooge in you will want to drive the Sorento on electricity to save those pennies, and that's not a bad thing because actually the Kia is at its best when it's in this mode. It glides along nicely, it's sprightly, it's hushed, it's actually remarkably relaxing to drive when the engine's off. The only trouble is, the engine has this awful habit of coming on when you don't want it to, like when you're stuck in traffic. You don't really notice it when you're driving at normal speeds because it's pretty quiet and the wind noise blocks it out anyway, but when you sat still, it just rumbles away and eats into the serenity. The Sorento struggles with the hybrid part on the whole, as it seems to get confused when switching between power sources. Most hybrids these days are pretty seamless, but the Kia doesn't quite nail that part of the brief. which is a shame because it's actually a good car to drive. Okay, so it's a big SUV and it's never going to be a sports car, but it doesn't have too much body roll, the steering's a good weight, and there's plenty of grip in corners too. It's a little firm on bumpy roads, but even on the standard 19-inch wheels, it's nice and composed, and it doesn't thump and crash into potholes either. Performance is good as well. It has 261 horsepower in total, so a 0 to 60 time of 8.4 seconds, which is actually faster than the normal hybrid version of the Sorento. So even though a 1.6 litre engine might sound small for such a big car, you don't have to worry about getting up to speed. One area the Sorento really sticks it to more premium rivals is that it's really well equipped. Even the entry-level version comes with 19-inch alloys, LED lights, heated seats, a digital instrument cluster and an 8-inch touchscreen display with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The 3 model we've got here has an upgraded 10.25-inch screen with sat-nav, as well as wireless phone charging, leather seats and an electric tailgate. The top spec 4 comes with all this plus a few luxury extras like a panoramic sunroof and a Bose stereo. Luckily, every Sorento comes with a reversing camera and parking sensors all around because it's rather a big car, and that means there's lots of room in here. The interior is a strong point. Build quality is good and it looks classy enough. There are some things that still feel a bit cheap, like these vent surrounds, but the overall feeling is that this is an upmarket cabin. The tech in here is fantastic, including this big touchscreen display that works really well with your phone connected or by itself. The menus are easy to use and flick through, and everything's laid out so it's easy to understand. The digital dash is nice and clear too, and thankfully there are real buttons for the aircon controls on the dash down here. The Sorento plug-in has nearly as much boot space as the normal hybrid, so it remains a really practical family car. There's 604 litres with 5 seats in place, or a van-like 1,988 litres if you fold all the seats down, so you won't have any trouble with things like bikes or furniture. It's just a shame there's nowhere to store the charging cables. You have to leave them in the boot with the rest of your luggage. Aside from the low company car tax, one of the Kia's big selling points is that it comes with 7 seats. And at the moment, there aren't a huge number of people carriers like this that have a plug-in powertrain. The rearmost seats are even quite useful. Okay, so they're not as comfy as the others, but you could actually sit in these for more than 5 minutes without complaining of cramp. The second row seats are very roomy indeed, with lots of leg room and headroom. Plus there are cubbies for storage and even aircon controls for everyone in the back. The Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid is a really impressive car for all the same reasons that the normal Sorento is. It's hugely practical, good to drive, packed with kit, and it has an impressive interior. There are a few issues with the plug-in model's powertrain though, so it only really makes sense if you're looking for a company car and can charge it up regularly. Current tax rules means it's the best option for business buyers. But if you're looking to buy privately, then we reckon the normal and cheaper hybrid is going to suit more people more of the time. Head to DrivingElectric.com for all the latest electric car advice, news and reviews. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. If you've not done it already, please subscribe to the Driving Electric YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified when a new video goes live.